Gobind Singh Ji was the 10th Guru, and he consolidated the Sikh faith. Now, the identity of the Sikhs is the turban, the uncut hair, and some of them we call the 5 Ks. The Kesh, which is uncut hair, the Kanga, the wooden comb, the Karpan, the dagger we wear, the Kashera, knee-length shorts, and the Kara. So these are external symbols we have. And Guruji said this will be easy for people to identify us, no matter where we are in the world. Like, so we have an external look. So if you see a Sikh, most people associate Sikhs with India. They'll see a Sikh, a gentleman with a turban, and say, well, that man must be from India. It's just a natural thing they do. And most of us are from India, but obviously there's the Sikhs around the world. Like, so I'm a first generation Scottish. I was born in Edinburgh. I think my brother here was born in South Shields or Newcastle, was it? Yeah, so he's English Sikh. But also we keep our identity. We keep our identity, as Guruji said, that no matter where we are in the world, no matter where we are in the world, we will keep that identity intact. So nobody can say, well, okay, because you're in Scotland, you have to conform to a different way of look. Why? We're not doing anybody harm. We're not infringing on anybody's space. We're not causing anyone any grief. We're here and we'll get on with our lives. And most Sikhs are law-abiding and quite, acceptable to everyone's different viewpoints. Although there are in our faith also some extremists. That's just a natural thing that happens. But most are moderates, and they will accept and let people live and that life. So Guru Gobind Singh gave us our special identity in 1699. And from that day on, we're still moving on. We'll still trying to fight for our identity. In 1708, Guru Gobind Singh Ji said that there's going to be no more human Guru. Just before he passed away, he said, the Guru of the Sikhs will be the Guru Granth Sahib Ji, the Sikh scriptures. Now in the Sikh scriptures, it's very unique because it's a very inclusive teaching. Sikhs, Hindus, whichever faith you follow, you will come to the Gurdwara, you show your respects. But you're showing respect to everybody. That's following one line of thought, that everybody is equal. Everybody is like the creation of the Creator. So the Guru Granth Sahib Ji is the most important aspect of the Gurdwara. So whenever we come in, we bow and we show respects and we sit down. Everybody sits on the floor. There's some seating in the back here for people that are unable to sit, obviously. This has just been a new concept, but in the early days there was never any kind of seating, but nowadays we have to make some kind of compromise. So there's some seating for the elderly or people that are not able to sit, and most people sit, mothers, children, adults, young people, old people, all sit on the floor. We've been in Edinburgh since the early 50s, and we used to have well, there was 2 houses in Hopefield Terrace. I don't know if you're familiar with Edinburgh. It's just North Junction Street, and there was 2 gentlemen that lived here, and they donated these 2 flats to the Sikh community, and they made it into the Gurdwara. And we're going to be celebrating 40 years of being in this actual building. And from Hopefield Terrace, we moved to Academy Street, and then we moved to here in 1976. So the Sikhs have been in Edinburgh since the early 50s. And even before that, actually, some Sikhs came over and were working as peddlers, or as door-to-door salesmen. But in the 50s, Sikhs properly started coming over to Edinburgh, Dundee, Liverpool, where the coast was. The South Shields, down England coast, Liverpool and so forth, but move inwardly all the time. So we're in Edinburgh, we're still near to the coast, and we've been here, as I said, since 1976. It's a fairly small community in comparison to Glasgow or maybe any cities in England. But it's about 800, 900 strong. And when it comes to a big occasion, a lot of the Sikh community do get together. And it's a big occasion like this tonight. Will be very busy. There'll be a lot of people here that you don't see for the whole year, but you'll see them on Diwali night. They'll come out and enjoy the evening. And we've been, as I said, we've been part of the community for so many years, and people accept us as local people. We're not like strangers, and people do know us.
And meditation can come in many forms as well. It's not just simply sit down, rigid. It could be as you're doing your work, honest work. You could be just remembering God. That is a form of meditation. It's just keeping love and connection. And the concept of Ikon, God is the first word in the Guru Granth Sahib, which is that God is one and He's also within everything. So, for example, that soul within comes from God. That's how you connect with God. Is you fill yourself with spiritual knowledge. You fill yourself with love. And Guru will teach you that to connect with that inner divinity within yourself, because that inner soul wants to go back to it's like a drop of water, Guru says, reaching back to the ocean. It becomes the ocean. You merge back with God. Your soul is God. It just wants to go back to God, and that's the heaven that we're reaching for. Not just simply higher realms of spirituality. It's simply to actually get back to God. That's what your soul's. That's the inner belonging of your soul. It wants to get back to God. God put you here, and we're actually, in a spiritual sense, is we are God Himself within everybody. If God made everything, and everything comes from God, God is acting out almost like a play amongst ourselves, and we're all experiencing, in a sense, God is experiencing through ourselves different connections, how we interact with people, how we act, how we, stresses, love, kindness, compassion, just as you live and breathe. And every person has their own personal experiences and personal interconnections, and that is the inner divinity. It's like a great play, and that soul, to be able to seek God within that play, that like drama, is what your soul's searching for. And when people ask them, what's the purpose of life? Is to merge back in your soul, to merge back into that great light, that one light. You understand? That's the whole concept of Sikhi, of Ikko and God, is simply that one for you, and we're not separate. In a way, we're separate, but we're never separate, because we just don't know how to connect. And that's what we're doing by meditating. So when you're doing your honest work, when you're being compassionate, you're meditating. You're acting out what the Bani's saying, like our good Bani, our scriptures. You're acting out what Guru says. Guru is the teacher, we're the students, and when you intuitively, naturally follow what Guru is telling you to do, then you're connecting, you're meditating, you're loving, you're acting out what it is. And it doesn't make much difference what faith you are. It just simply, there's God in all of us, and our inner soul wants to get back to that like a little drop. It becomes the ocean itself. Like sometimes people can feel quite small and quite meek, and when they think of deep thoughts, but when you actually feel like, actually I'm part of God, and I can, and my soul's merging back to God, you become something. You become the universe. You become everything past the universe. You become God Himself. You understand? And that's what your soul's. And when people ask what's the purpose of life for a Sikh, is to merge back into God.
So the inspiration is there. So when you do good, that's when you get inspired to do more good. And the more good you do, the more you become closer to God. Simple concept. Baptism, right? Okay, well, baptism is like a ceremony in Sikhism, like we become a part of the Khalsa Panth. There's a baptism ceremony then. We have, when a child is born, there's a birth ceremony, okay? There's a turban tying ceremony, there's a wedding ceremony, there's a death ceremony, but the baptism is known as the Amrit Sanchar. And this is like when we take the vow to become like a Khalsa. So someone that wears the 5 Ks and someone that becomes like more attained to the teachings of the Guru. And everyday Sikh will have a turban, will have his uncut hair, but he may not wear the kirpan, he may not follow the tenets of the Sikh faith as he should be doing. So a Khalsa, a baptized Sikh will follow it even more rigidly.
But baptism is just like a minimum, so it's like a code of conduct. If you're Amritdhari, a baptized Sikh, it just means you hold like a code of conduct. That basically there's a set of guidelines that, as a minimum guidelines, you will adhere to them guidelines as an Amritdhari Sikh. But it doesn't mean I'm a better Sikh because I'm baptized. I'm baptized, but I'm not a better Sikh than another person. It just simply means at that point in my life, I've made a dedication and said, look, this is my minimum set of code of conduct that Guruji's prescribed, and I will keep up to that code of conduct. I may fail, but Guruji is the great forgiver, and he always forgives. and then you can try again. That's the whole point. Like in life,
Okay.
you try, you
Commitment.
make endeavours in life,
Yeah.
and you try your best. And sometimes you make commitment. It could be marriage, for example. You make a commitment to marriage, and with great sincerity, it might sometimes not work. And it might not be because you didn't try. Sometimes it might be just simply when couldn't give your whole soul to it. But we're just human beings, and sometimes we have times where we drop down, and we can just try again. You pick ourselves up again, and you try again. And you know, none of us are perfect. Generally happens in adulthood rather than childhood. But I've seen like children. I mean, my own daughter, she was 1.5 years old and she had cancer, and we were told she wouldn't survive. So I had her baptized, and then we would do prayers with her every day. And she was in hospital for a whole year, and we did prayers with her. She kept her like 5 kakars in like. Her 5 little identities in a hospital bed with her as she's thinking, and she had a miraculous recovery. You know, she hasn't been able to keep it up as she's gotten older, right? But my point being is, at that point, she did take it. So it does happen at a younger age, but that generally wouldn't be the case. It would be somebody, maybe like I took her at 15 years old, which is relatively young, but I'd been brought up in a community where there was quite a lot of Amritdhari baptized Sikhs. So for ourselves, I'd always thought to myself, it's going to be at one point I'm going to be Amritdhari. So it was a bit easier probably for myself. Whereas
a natural sort of like occurrence, or natural sort of progress of your life there, isn't it?
Yeah.
The community you're in, the environment you're in, does influence your sort of like way of life, doesn't it?
Yes.
You know, sometimes you can be in a bad environment and you can sort of like get distracted from that path. But staying faithful and staying true to your path is the real test, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's been times where I've had to actually retake Amrit again because I couldn't be able to keep it up. I've tried my best. Times where I've fell below the minimum set of conduct, and then I've asked for forgiveness from the Guru, and then I've re-baptized. But once it's inside yourself, it never goes. It's just simply a case of you go ask for forgiveness from Guru in the community of like 5 elder Sikhs, right? When the baptizing ceremony is done again. And you can come forward and be honest. It's like confession. You're being honest about yourself. You're asking for forgiveness from Guru, and you try to move on because Guru knows he knows about religious people.
As you know, men and females, if they meet each other or they touch each other, there's sometimes like some kind of interaction, you know. So we try to just avoid that, but it's not a segregation. You'll see sometimes family units will sit as a family unit. Not a problem, you know. But because we're a close-knit community, we just sit slightly separate, that's all. Tonight there'll be like, you know, goodness, it'll be completely full up here, and downstairs also be full. Like, you know, we go to India, or go anywhere outside, like, you know, sometimes you just sit as a family unit. It's fine, it's not a problem, yeah. I think it's the same in South Shields, isn't it? Or sometimes you sit.
Yeah, they sit on both sides, but you can pretty much, if you want to sit on the other side, you can sit whatever you want, really. I think in India, especially, it's much more mixed because sometimes the Gurdwara is so packed. People go as family units. It's open all day, and they just kind of sit as a family unit, and it's all mixed everywhere. It's just more, like I say, out of more modesty and respect. For example, so you're sitting there in prayer, and you know, and like you say, sometimes you can be quite compact, and you sit in knee to knee, you know,
Yes.
and sometimes it can feel a bit uncomfortable for some woman to be sitting next to some man she doesn't know, and the knee to knee, and just, you know what I mean? And you're just kind of like, you say that you can disturb your aura, like your feeling of what you're getting, just like, because you're here for your own self, your own peace. It's you, and there's Guru, and there's God, and connecting with God.
This is a composition of flour, sugar, water, butter, and the fifth ingredient is prayer. So we share this holy food. It's called like a holy pudding. It's like prashad, and it was started by Guru Nanak Ji to remove untouchability, to spread social equality. We all share the simple sweet food at the end of the ceremony, and this will give us sweetness, and we will give out sweetness.
Wow.
A very simple concept. So this day we have a big celebration. The community has come today this morning, and they'll go home and they'll come back this evening for more celebrations to commemorate this day. And after the service, the religious service, we have a firework display, and then there's lots of food, there's lots of, like, you know, joyous occasion. Everyone joins. It's a family occasion, so everyone comes along and enjoys the evening.
That was a lovely.